Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, it doesn't work without you guys. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods here on this hump day. It is Wednesday, the middle of the week. We are rolling right down to the weekend, although it really doesn't change much because, hell, weekends, weekdays, we're always here, at least for the last couple of months. And if you're like me, you're probably getting a little stir crazy, but I'm finding things to do as much as possible. Although I may need to slow my roll down a little bit because I woke up in the middle of the night with like this pain in my rib cage and my back and kind of walking a little bit sideways. I normally have some back ibuprofen, 800 milligrams tablets, and I usually would double those up, but they say don't take that with the coronavirus. That's something with ibuprofen and all that. So I've got some extra strength Tylenol, and I'm hoping that they kick in along with the coffee to help take the edge off it so I can stop walking around like an old man. So here's some interesting news because we are a world station here. We got Eagle fans and Giant fans are now coming out the woodwork. They're coming out the woodwork. We got a few Redskin ones. They're still low key. Redskins ain't out there pounding their chest like Eagle fans or anything like that. Giants, but they're coming back around. Interesting thing because we're talking about here come the judge. Here come the judge. Joe Judge. Joe Judge talking about their offense. And I almost choked on it. Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator, that the offense is going to be very Dallas Cowboy-like. Well, I guess that's to be expected. You got Cooper Rush, who they just signed, and got him. Maybe he's going to help mentor Danny Dimes, who needs to go to a payday loan because he's not worth 5 cents. And you got Marco Colombo, offensive line coach. So you can figure that that's the way they're going to be going. And I guess we'll see how Jason Garrett is at calling plays. So Giants, good luck with that. Although I will say, since Jason Garrett has had 4 seasons of 8-8, and this is the last opportunity to be 8-8 because after this it goes to 17 games. I guess from where you guys are standing, 8-8 sounds pretty good. Yeah, it sounds pretty good over the last 3 years because you guys have sucked. Yeah, so 8-8 would be a major improvement. But hey, I got my own stuff to deal with here. I think today, we know what's going on right now. We've got the Dak bashing, and Dak should be, basically begging for money. He doesn't deserve to get paid. He's not a top 5 quarterback or top 10. He's not even a top 15 quarterback in some people's eyes, where people say Dak Prescott's the problem. Dak Prescott's not the guy to lead him there, this, that, and the other, and so forth. Contrary to what people believe, he is. People will come through the argument and they'll say, Dak Prescott, he didn't lead the team to the playoffs. Well, some things are beyond your control. And I'm going to go through and do a game that I absolutely hate. And that's the Minnesota Viking game. That Minnesota Viking, there's so many games last year that just literally just broke your heart. But that was the one that you realized that Jason Garrett has got to go. That game, Minnesota said, we are not going to allow Zeke Elliott to get crap. And all day long, they stacked about. They had those big guys like Emerson Griffin and things. They had those big guys in there, and they were pounding it. Zeke Elliott, I think, in the game had 50 yards. Yet Dak Prescott threw for almost 400. And in the final drive, or one of the drives, maybe it wasn't the final drive, but on one of the drives, we started out deep in our territory, and in 6 plays, we go like 80 yards downfield. We are boom, boom. It's like boom, 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 boom. We're in a flow. Dak is feeling it. The wide receivers are feeling it. We're moving the ball at will. And it was at that point that we got Jason Garrettism. Let's stop throwing the ball. Let's take it out of the guy with the hot hands. Let's run the football. We'll run the football with Zeke. Yeah, that's what we do. We're just going to line up, and we're going to go against that defense that we haven't been able to run against all day. All day. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to win the game that way. That was about as boneheaded as Pete Carroll deciding to pass on the goal line with Marshawn Lynch there when Marshawn Lynch had been eating all day. All day. You go with what's working until they stop it. And running hadn't been working all day, and passing had. We end up losing that game. That game right there, you're 9-7. Things look a lot different at 9-7 versus 8-8. And that's not the only game that you looked at that we were just literally outcoached and outshined. But even though Dak Prescott had 3 touchdown passes, 397 yards, they will go through and say, well, Dak sucks. Clearly, you didn't give it to the guy that was playing well. Clearly, the coaches fucked that game up. Excuse my language. I know some of you it doesn't matter because it just goes over your head because you just have these blinders on that just say Dak sucks and it's not the guy. But as we go through, what I like to do is I like to go through everything. Twitter, Bleacher Report, Yardbarker, ESPN. I like to try and get all the stuff together, and I like to think of myself as a digester. You know what I mean? Like a garbage disposal, you put all the stuff in, they grind it up, and it runs it down the drain, and figure out what is real and what isn't real, and get tad bits, and then you combine all of this stuff together to come up with conclusions. Now, an interesting thing from Bobby Belt. Bobby Belt had a tweet this morning. Interesting take. Anyone arguing against Dak Prescott as the best deep ball passer in the NFC East is probably too far gone. You're point on. You're spot on right there. Because I've heard people say, yo, man, I'll take Haskins over Dak Prescott. Really? Haskins? I'll take Danny Dimes over Dak Prescott. Okay. The only person who fumbled more than Daniel Jones is Carson Wentz. Just putting that out there. Dak had 16 completions last year of 40-plus yards. 40-plus yards. 16. If you take how many Carson Wentz had, Danny Dimes, who needs to go to a payday loan because he's not worth a nickel, and Haskins, and combine that, you still are only breaking even with Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott did it in half of the pass plays. Now, if your whole thing is he's dink and dunk, that ain't dinking and dunking. If your whole thing is that Dak Prescott sucks and, it's just the wide receivers he's got, you still have to deliver the ball to the wide receivers. I want you to explain that one to me, why we have so many more deep completions. Now, keep in mind, as we go through, let's look at this a little deeper. Let's look a little deeper. Let's look exactly how it works out. So intended air yards. This is next-gen stats, okay? I didn't make this up. I didn't pull this out my rear end or anything. Intended air yards. Dak had 9.3 to Haskins 8.7 to Daniel Jones's 8.1 to Carson Wentz's 7.9. How does that rank out? Dak Prescott in intended yards. In other words, passing going down the field. Dak was 6th in the NFL. Dwayne Haskins, 10th. Danny Dimes, 20th. Carson Wentz, 23rd. Completed air yards. So this is completions. This is taking all of your completions that you have and basically dividing by the number, and that's how much you get for the average. So completed pass plays, completed air yards. 7.6 for Dak, 3rd in the NFL. Dwayne Haskins, 6.4, which is actually pretty good, 12th. Daniel Jones, 5.7 yards, 22nd. Carson Wheelchair Wentz, 5.5, tied for 25th in the NFL. So, wow. Air differential, Dak Prescott, 1.7, 10th. And everybody else, minus 2.4. minus 2.4, all tied at 25th. So as you go around the NFC East and you look at the numbers and the statistics and where he lies, as people say, he's not a top 10 quarterback. He's not a top 15. I got to tell you that the numbers bear differently. And you have to go ahead and look at the team in totality. You've seen a lot of quarterbacks out there that have had great, great seasons. They've done their part, yet they don't have the team around them. I could say that about Matt Ryan a lot of times because Matt Ryan's actually had really good had really good seasons, but not quite had the team. You could look at Drew Brees, who we all know is going to be a Hall of Famer, and their team went 7-9 3 years in a row because, well, let's face it, they had Rob Ryan out there who said he'd only be unemployed for 5 minutes and should have been unemployed for a few more weeks because he stunk up the place with their defense. Beyond what people believe, you have to have a great quarterback, but a great quarterback alone will not win you. You still have to have 21 other guys on that field that have to do their job as well. So I'm going to take my broke back and I'm going to try and get in here in the workshop because I got some work to do. And we'll be doing what we do here at the Joe Boo Sports Report, trying to keep you entertained and keep you up to speed with all that is America's team. I will see you guys later.